This is Mary Jane from the Digital Read News podcast. We're on page 7 of the Cannabis in South Africa, the People's Plant, a full spectrum manifesto for policy reform. It's the final edit for public comment on the discussion document spearheaded by the Dacha couple. We're on the page called Definitions. The first one to define is a cannabinoid. This is a class of diverse chemical compounds that acts on receptors in the central nervous system and immune systems of all animals. These compounds can be endocannabinoids, endogenous compounds generated by the body, or phytocannabinoids found in plants, or neocannabinoids obtained by chemical synthesis and not found in nature. 100 different cannabinoids have been isolated from the cannabis plant. The two best known cannabinoids are tetrahydrocannabinol, that's THC, and cannabidiol, CBD. Next definition, cannabis products. Cannabis products refer to any raw or processed botanical part, either transformed and refined or not, and mixed with other components or not. Other products that are mixed, infused, or contain elements or compounds obtained from the cannabis plant are also considered cannabis products. Next definition, cannabis sativa L. The botanical binomial name of the plant belonging to the family Cannabaceae. It is a tall annual herb with a stiff upright stem, divided serrated leaves, covered with glandular hairs or trichomes. It is used to produce fiber, seed, and its flowering and fruiting tops are used as both a medicinal drug and as a recreational substance. Modern research has shown that the genus Cannabis is monospecific, that is, within the genus Cannabis, the only existing species is sativa. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the UNODC, while cannabis is commonly designed by different subspecies, example, indica, rhodiolaris, spontanea, caphrastanica, the chemical and morphological distinctions by which cannabis has been divided into these subspecies are often not readily discernible, appear to be environmentally modifiable, and vary in a continuous fashion. For most purposes, it suffices to apply the name cannabis sativa to all cannabis plants encountered. That was in 2009. Cultivation. The planting, tending, improving, or harvesting of crops or plants can be done outdoors, indoors, and in green or shade houses. Cultivation can be done in soil, water, or other various growing mediums. Decriminalization. Generally understood to refer to the removal of criminal sanctions for certain offences, usually the possession and use of small quantities of currently illegal drugs for personal use. Under a system of decriminalization, possession and use of drugs remain unlawful and a punishable offence with fines or community service, but no longer attracts a criminal record. Hemp. English vernacular name historically given to cannabis sativa. Nowadays, its meaning has evolved to mean crops explicitly grown for purposes other than the psychoactive ones, such as clothing, fiber, paper, fuel, building material from fiber, or food supplements, and oils from the seeds. The disassociation of hemp from psychoactivity-related cannabis is purely artificial, utilitarian, and terminological. Nevertheless, states have adopted various cutting points to distinguish legal and illegal cannabis according to THC content, which are not properly backed by evidence at this stage. Casinomics. An informal market system of South Africa that accounts for upward of 28% of our economy. Legalization. The process of the removal of all types of penalty, criminal or administrative, for production, supply and possession of, for example, cannabis. This process takes place concretely through regulations. Ombudsman, an official administrative office appointed to investigate individuals' complaints against a company or organization, especially a public authority. Processing. could be described as cultivation, extraction, analytics, and biochemistry, defined as any method used to prepare cannabis or its byproducts for commercial use, including but not limited to drying, cleaning, curing, packaging, and extraction of active ingredients to create cannabis-related products and concentrates. Regulations: a framework of rules that sets the parameters for legal production, supply, and possession of a potentially harmful substance such as sales to minors. Hence, our aim or goal is the legal regulation of cannabis in South Africa. Then supply is broken into 7 different headings, the first one being third-party retail outlet. That is the sales conducted by anyone under the producer at a location removed from the cultivation or processing site. Traditional healers, practitioners of traditional African medicine in Southern Africa. Traditional knowledge, a living body of knowledge, skills and practices that are developed, sustained and passed on from generation to generation within a community, often forming part of its cultural or spiritual identity. Traditional cultural expression, that's folklore embodied as part of the cultural identity of indigenous and local communities. Traditional and complementary medicine. It is the sum total of the knowledge, skills, and practices based on the theories, beliefs, and experiences indigenous to different cultures, whether explicable or not, used in the maintenance of health, as well in the prevention, diagnosis, improvement, or treatment of physical and mental illness. Traditional medicine. See traditional and complementary medicine, which I just read to you, and traditional use, the intersection of traditional method of use with a traditional product. In the next recording, we'll be looking at the background, history, and content of cannabis in South Africa. Thank you for listening. Please remember to share, like, get this through if you're a policy maker in government. Please give this a listen. For those of you who are neutral to cannabis, anti-cannabis, or have no idea about cannabis, give this a listen. It's sensible, it's rational, and it affects us all. Thank you for listening.